again, what are we doing tonight? We are doing the Tanabe catless front pipe tonight. Other than that, the entire exhaust system on this car is stock. I do not have a cat back yet, and I will not be putting headers on as I will be boosting in the future. So we're gonna see what this does for us. Maybe we'll pick up a couple of horsepower, lose a couple of pounds. Hopefully it'll sound better. Let's do a quick before of what it sounds like. Bone stock. I've already got the front up on ramps. I got to jack the back up later, but I'm gonna let it cool off. So before it gets too cool, let's start it up real quick and have some before sound clip of it, the startup, and give it a couple of reps. Okay, under the car, that is the cat and the front two bolts, so you can get perspective of where we are here. It's the back of the car, we are at the front. Those two bolts, hopefully with some WD, will just come out real quick. I've got to pause you and move around to the other side of the car because I'm too lazy to actually lift this car any higher than it is. And the back two bolts are actually right there. You can actually see them right there. Let's go around to the other side of the car. Right there. Those two spring compression bolts. Now, I did order this from Tanabe, so it actually came with a new 2-bolt gasket and 2 bolts. However, there's an exhaust donut right here. And by the looks of it, when I get this pipe off, we're going to actually have to remove that donut from the stock pipe and put it on the Tanabe. So let me get some tools out, pull this thing off real quick. Oh, one more thing here. We do have this hanger. Now this hanger is on the Tanabe as well. I don't exactly know how it's going to bolt on there. I didn't think the Tanabe had a hole here to go through. I'll have to get out from under the car and actually look at it again. However, we will find a way to make it work. So let me get some tools out and get this thing off real quick. Then we'll compare them and weigh them and see what the difference is. Okay, I've broken everything loose. Especially you northern people, you've got to use some kind of lubricant or something. Joke intended. Those bolts up there were actually still rusted, and this car is from Louisiana and Mississippi, so it's not seen much salt and anything like that. This is a 2013, and those 2 bolts up there were rusted. You've got to use penetrating oil of some kind. Everything has been broken loose. There were 2 up here in front of the cat on the down or on the overpipe. There's the one here, and then there are the 2 compression bolts, and everything is pretty much ready to come off. So let's go ahead and pull this thing off real quick. Upon looking at this further, this hanger here, there's 2 bolts that go up into the cross member. Probably best to loosen those. So let's do that too. When your piece of shit ratchet works, there she blows. Let's get this thing out from underneath the car, weigh them, and we've got to remove this exhaust donut. Okay. We can see this at all. Please don't troll my messy ass garage, I know, okay? Here's our difference. Two good things about being a bachelor car guy: you can use a dishwasher to wash car parts, and you can use a scale to weigh parts. So this is showing about 12 pounds, 13 pounds. And if anybody is in question over who makes what parts for these cars, I don't know if you can see that good enough. Subaru, of course, since the engine is Subaru, of course this is as well. So that was what, 13 or so pounds, and the Tanabe is 5. So almost 10 pounds difference. Now, this donut, I actually already looked at it. I thought it was gonna be difficult. I've had to actually take a screwdriver and go underneath it and very carefully pry off, but that was on a 13-year-old car. This one's actually still pretty loose. Might be able to persuade it off without anything. I'd be pissed if I end up breaking it. There we go. And it is still in good condition. Hopefully it will fit this pipe perfectly. People, I'm a penny pincher on some things. If you are new into cars and modding and parts, do not buy cheap shit ever. I've got 2 headers sitting in this masterpiece of a mess for my Mazda, none of which fit because they were cheap eBay pieces of crap. Just spend the money and buy from the people who know what they're making, and their entire business is reliant on the fact that their parts fit properly. You don't hear people talking shit about eBach because all their stuff works. Okay, also, I mentioned this earlier about the hanger. There is in fact a hole already there. So, we got the donut on, we've already got the hole for the hanger. Tanabe provided us a new gasket for here. So I'm gonna get back under the car, put you guys under the car, and we're gonna get this thing on here and see what it does. I would advise putting in the exhaust hanger bolt first so you don't hit yourself in the face. Here's the exhaust hanger bolt right here that I was talking about, just to hold everything while we do what we gotta do back here. Something that I've learned over the years of working on stuff, those of you fresh people who haven't learned this one yet, don't ever tighten any bolt down until you start everything and check for binds. Make sure there's no binds anywhere. Everything's matching up the way that it should. Save yourself a headache or having to remove something later. Okay, this, first of all, is an excellent product. This thing fits like it came from the factory this way. My HKS muffler on my other car does not fit near as good as this pipe does. It's just perfect. So let me walk you through some general steps that I tend to take when I do things like this. First of all, since this is closest to the engine, I just start up there. Everything has never sees on it. If you do not put never sees on stuff, You really should, I'll try to be polite about it, you need to use never sees. Unless you have a very specific reason to not use it, you need to be putting it on things. I put it on my lugs when I put my new ones on. I read about everybody stripping lugs off and I was terrified about that happening to me. I took all my lugs off, I replaced them with some nicer looking lugs, and never seized everything and torqued everything down to spec. So I put everything on finger tight, up here first. The exhaust hanger bolt, that was one of the first things I put on, just to hold everything up so it doesn't hit you in the head. That would make for a headache, haha. Everything finger tight. The first things that I actually torqued down were these two bolts here. These are what I loosened off the exhaust hanger so I could move it this direction to get the stock pipe off. It definitely made it just easier to maneuver the pipe on. So I actually tightened these down, one of the first things. I put this one in finger tight just to hold everything. Finger tight, up front was finger tight. And then I tightened everything down reasonable amount, so nothing to move. These got torqued down first. Just Google the specs. We're all Google machines these days. I did use the new gasket that Tanabe provided. The old one was still in great shape, but I have a new one, so why not put the new one on, which is what I did. It only cost $3 at the parts store anyway. Again, everything is never seized. These two bolts up here, like I told you earlier, were the hardest to get off. They had the most corrosion on them, so I kind of never seized the shit out of them. When I do eventually have to take them off in a couple years to boost, it'll just make it that much easier. Went on ahead and torqued everything down, all of it. Everything fits great. It doesn't move. I'm very happy with the fitment of this, and I'm actually quite excited to start it and see if it made a difference in the sound. So excited, in fact, I can't be bothered to talk to you guys anymore right now. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, I haven't driven it yet, off the ramps, etc. I put it in the garage, started it up, you guys heard it. There's a definite sound difference. You can definitely hear that there's less restriction in it. It's not raspy, there's not a real good throaty sound. I'm not going to sell you a load of shit like it's made all the difference in the world, but you can definitely tell the difference. It is more, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. It sounds just like it did, only it's louder. It didn't change the tone, it didn't make it raspy, it nothing like that. It just took what it already sounded like and increased the volume, if that makes sense. As far as the product is concerned, I bought a lot of parts for several different cars. Building this one, I have my Mazda I built. I had a Mazda before that. I've got my truck that I still work on to this day. And that pipe is some of the best fitting that I've ever seen. Most people say aftermarket's never exact fit. There's always a little fudging here or there. There's always one thing or another thing that doesn't exactly fit right. That pipe fit right, perfectly. So hats off to Tanabe. I would definitely buy them again. I would absolutely suggest buying that for $100 cheaper than the competing one, however you pronounce it, NVIDIA or whatever, however you pronounce it, that makes the good catback systems everybody likes. I would just as soon get the Tanabe because I can't imagine a product fitting better than that. So tomorrow, hopefully we can get some time and I can at least go for a drive and see what it sounds like going down the road. But the install was easy. It took me twice as long as it'll take you because I was in and out of the car and playing with my doggy and etc. So it's a good product. If you're looking to try to get a little bit more sound out, providing you are in a state that does not do emissions checks, I'm fortunate. I am not from one of those states. Take that sucker off of there. I'm looking at it now. It is a great big, ugly, heavy looking freaking thing. Take that damn thing off. Get yourself a Tanabe front pipe. It is worth it. More to come. Subscribe, please.